Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 5:30. The Castle Hills Board of Adjustment is convening. I forgot who you were and you were approaching me and I'm thinking, no, ma'am, you have to sit down. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Folks, I appreciate y'all signing up. It's very nice, but we're somewhat informal on this board. So we're going to go through the steps. And if you have something at the appointed time, I'll ask if anybody has any comments. If you just raise your hand, I'd recognize you. You come on up if that's okay. That way it doesn't confuse the old guy running the meeting. We are now in session. There is a quorum present. There is number 2 is approval of the Board of Adjustment meetings, February 26, 2024. Is there a motion? Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Is there a second? Thank you, Justin. There's a second. All in favor of approval, say aye. Thank you. It's unanimous. Item number 3, a public hearing for application from Stephen Sheridan for a variance ABSU encroaching on the side yard setbacks. Addition encroaching the rear setbacks and for more than 33% of the lot covered by impervious cover. 127 Honeysuckle as stated in the agenda. We're going to do something a little different this time. I'm going to open the public hearing. The applicant is going to come up and tell us about it. I will then ask if there's any comments from the audience regarding any comments. And then when I close the hearing, we'll go through the motion and then the board can ask their questions. Okay, we'll do it this time. Just give it a little variety. Mr. Sheridan, it is now 5:32. The public hearing is now open. Mr. Sheridan, would you come up and
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. It's nice to see you back.
Yeah, thank you. I have some slides to go over. Is that what you wanted me to do?
Sure.
Okay.
If you picked out a couple of things from your last presentation. Tell us about those couple of things, please.
Okay. So basically, I'm wanting to do a home addition, and again, according to the regulations, I have a corner lot, and I need 10 feet for my side, and I want to build my shed 5 feet versus the 10 feet. So I'm asking for additional 5 feet. And then I'll show some images, but I want to build backwards on the side towards our alleyway. And I'm required to have 20 feet. But you'll see from my drawing is I'm limited in space. And so I want to build to 9 feet from the fence versus 20. So I need an additional 11 feet.
Okay.
So that's kind of where yep. So, but in my packet, so this first slide shows, okay, that's fine. That was it. Okay.
We were there.
Okay, great. So this first slide shows a Google picture of our house, and basically the blue rectangles are what we're trying to do. The shed is in the back. Whoops, is in the back there, and then we're trying to make it look like it was never added. So we're extending our roof line, and that you can see the driveway. That's a 3-car garage driveway. And so we're just building back towards the alleyway. And what we're gonna also want to do is add a 4th parking spot on that driveway. So expand it from 3 to 4. And then that'll take us over the 33 1/3 coverage to like about 34, 33. So I'm just asking for 35 just for any error in math. Next slide. Okay, go ahead.
No, go
Okay,
ahead,
sorry.
please. I'm sorry.
back.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah,
The
go
next slide, please.
Okay, next. Yeah, so this is a street view from Sir Arthur from the side here. Again, there's the 3-car garage, and so we're just building to the right there. Next slide. And then, so here's a survey. And again, it's just showing where we're building. And,
Okay,
okay. And next, and then I haven't obviously done any architectural drawings yet because of, until I get approval. But these are just some kind of drawings. So this would be from the street, you would kind of, again, extend the roof over. And we would have some there. Next slide. And then just the other side, some windows. But so that's basically it on what we're trying to do.
okay. You want to hold tight?
Yep.
Ryan, would you go back to slide 1, please? That one. Okay, let's just leave that one up for a
Okay.
moment. Is there, just hang tight, because I don't think there's anybody here to speak on this
Right.
particular item. Is there anyone? Since there is no one, we will close the public hearing at 5:36. Is there a motion for the council on this item? I mean, from the board on this item? Thank you. Cassidy has made the motion to accept. Is there a second? This is so we can discuss it. Is there a second? Thank you, Tom. Okay, Mr. Lopez, do you have some discussion on this or some questions?
So what exactly is this gonna be? Is it like making the garage bigger or is it
No,
living
it's-
space or what?
No, it's going to be a home office for my wife, and then the so the addition part will be 11 feet width will be my wife's home office, and then the rest of it will be a 1-bedroom, 2-bathroom kitchenette. So it will be both a place for family and friends to visit, and then we would apply for the Airbnb short-term rental paperwork to rent that out when we don't have family or friends using that.
And that's gonna be behind the fence or?
No, so currently there's a fence, but the red dotted line is where the fence currently is. And so once we get the construction done, then I'm just gonna start the fence at the end of the addition to connect to the fence. So you'll see the 3-car garage, and then you'll see some doors and a window. Does that make sense from the image?
Hang on.
Yeah. Okay, keep asking your questions or anything like that. I've got some, I now have some. Go ahead.
Okay, that's all I got.
Cassidy,
What are you gonna do with the fence?
So the red dotted line is the current fence.
Mhm.
So that fence is gonna come down, because right now, like the second slide, or can you go to the second slide real quick? So right now you see the 3-car garage. So because the way I'm building it, the roof line is gonna extend over, and so it was like it was never added. It would just continue the same stucco, and the roof line will extend over. And then once the addition is done, then there will be a wooden fence to connect to the current fence. So you can go back to slide 1. And so that's where the dotted line will disappear. And the solid red line is the current fence. And then I would, as you can see, I would just add a gate at the end of the addition to match the back of the fence. And so I would just open up the yard there.
Okay, and I'm sorry, can you, along the driveway, the new driveway, are you adding a fence?
No, I'm
there,
not.
or
No.
is-
No, correct, I'm not. It's gonna be, do you see this? Do you see how the dotted line goes to the alleyway and then back? So the dotted line is the current fence and being torn down. And then I will put a gate at basically what's 9 feet. So there'll be a gate in that 9-foot section. It will connect to the current fence.
So the driveway is for parking for that additional
Correct,
bedroom or whatever you're making?
right, correct,
Okay, thank you.
right.
Justin, go ahead and ask your questions. I'll go last this time.
That was my question about the driveway. So it's gonna be a full car width?
Correct, yeah, so on the dark, it's 12 feet wide. And it'll be the same length. I'm just expanding it because, like I said, I have a 3-car garage and a 3-car garage or 3-car wide driveway. And so I'm just expanding it 1 more spot.
Okay.
Because as you know, no vehicles can park on the street overnight. So this way, we can use our 3-car garage, and then if someone rents the Airbnb or family and friends are visiting, they can park in that spot overnight.
Okay. And then your question number 1 was you wanted a shed and a pickleball court. Was that?
Well, I took off the
your
pickleball
last
court.
application?
we
So we're
dropped-
not.
Yeah,
we dropped
yeah,
it.
we're correct.
Okay.
You had told me to break it up, and so I'm just strictly looking at the 5 feet for the shed, and then, go
What's
ahead.
your restriction on the shed coming 5 feet closer to your house?
To my,
Is
well, yeah, I mean, I'll just, if you can see from the diagram, again, you're not supposed to look at, other people's variances, but that's there, do you see that rough line next to the red line? Next to the shed on the other side, my neighbor,
Okay.
that's a shed.
Okay.
And so, it would just, if I were to do the 10 feet, then I'd be, pretty, I'd be kind of, I guess, right in between. And so this just gives me more yard between the shed and the house. And again, it's, as you can see, I'm on a corner lot, I'm far behind, and I have a 8-foot fence. So you could you'll barely see the roof of the shed above the fence, because we're so far back.
Okay.
But I mean, I could go over if you deny it, but then I'd be like right in the middle, and then that.
Right.
yeah.
If we grant the variance, can we restrict what side? Can we like say, on whatever side as written? Okay, that's all the questions I have.
Yes, I think you addressed it. On the other side of the fence, that's the neighbor has a shed that looks like it's got about a 2-foot variance.
Yeah, correct. Right.
Okay. And then I guess that neighbor didn't send in any comment on, yeah, so didn't think that'd be a problem. And it took me a second to figure out what the red lines were, but now see, that's the extension of the roof line.
Correct. Yeah, I just wanted to
So
kind of
I got that.
visualize showing that,
Right.
there'd be hangover.
Right.
But again, I wanted to make it look seamless, like it was never added on.
Yeah.
Versus doing some weird turns. Because the other thing is, obviously, if I'm not given the variance and I have to do the 20 feet, then I've got to kind of really mess up that roof line. I have to do a 90-degree turn to go back in our property, but I was hoping to just,
I know there's an alley there and I guess there's no, the 20-foot variance that we have on the back is just a standard. I presume there's no issues with taking away 10 feet of that for the alley usage for the garbage trucks or whatever. I mean,
The alley,
they could have plenty of room.
yeah, no, garbage, the fence is way on this side. And as you can see the alleyway, the trucks, I put my trash can on the other side of the fence as it is. I have about 1 foot to 2 feet of grass on the other side of the fence before you get to the alleyway cement. There's like about 2 feet of grass where I put my trash can,
Gotcha.
and then the truck goes down that alleyway.
No further questions.
thank you. Louis, come up the front row, please. I've got, something came up tonight. I have to be very honest with you, that really threw me for a loop
Okay,
on this.
Yep.
And part of this is some of the stuff that we would have gotten into before, but this is the first time Airbnb, kitchenette. We've gone from an in-law suite to intent, it sounds, to create a hospitality facility, for lack of a better term. I personally, and I cannot speak for the board on this, I personally think this is something that needs to come originally from that direction, if that's what we're doing, because when we start talking about something like this that has clear intent by the owner to be used by something, quite frankly, when I looked at this, if he was adding on to the garage for 4 cars, but just to put a parking pad specifically, I personally have a problem with that. Because I don't want you to build something and then have to turn around and say, excuse me, you can't have an Airbnb there. You can't have a guest item there.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's.
No, I mean, we're talking
No,
pickleball
right,
courts,
no, I
we're talking
understand.
all these things that you were talking
Right.
originally.
Uh,
And as I said, if that had not been said,
Right.
then we would sit up here thinking, in-law suite or this or that. When we start talking kitchenettes and we start talking Airbnb-ish, that's a
Right.
whole different issue in Castle Hills. There's also one already. So
Yep.
I'm not even sure it would clear.
It's absolutely legal, sir. The short-term rental code says that it's legal. Where we run into problems here with short-term rentals, it's when they're accessory use structures. Because then you have two habitable structures on one lot. This isn't two habitable structures.
So we're not, that's not our deal. All we're doing is
Correct.
talking about the variances requested.
That's correct. There isn't a zoning
Its
question.
usage is not an issue to us.
That's correct. Usage is not brought up to you.
Thank you for making that clear. Thank you very much. So, okay, just now my thoughts on the addition. I don't really have any problem with it. The shed, just so you know, the shed is up, your neighbor's shed is up against the wall because it's grandfathered. If they came back and
Right.
had to tear it down and redo it, we'd probably never
Well, no, again-
be up there like that. The back setback to me personally is not a problem because the alley is there. That's why when, not to discuss the next variance before it comes before us from you. But we got a little taste last week of some of your plans and we'll discuss those as they come. But that leaves plenty of room in the back, in my point of view, for fire protection and things like that. It's very strange to make it very clear to the board, we're approving a 35% variance on impervious cover on this particular item, which is in the plans call for a 33, but I do understand doing what you're doing, it might end up being 34.5. So why turn around and nitpick over those 2 square feet?
Well, yeah, just like 1%,
That's my only thoughts on that. Justin?
I'm having an issue with the previous coverage.
Okay.
So we've given these variances before, but people have built garage, so it's access to the garage.
Right.
To me, this sounds like essentially just you're making a parking lot, and I don't think that's what the community really
Okay.
intended for these variances to do. That's the shed I'm fine with, the setback I'm fine with. I just, we're taking away previous coverage to make a parking lot. Or
Right,
it
yeah,
doesn't
it's-
go to anything. You do have a 3-car garage, so you have 3 slots behind there. It looks like your driveway is pretty long. I know it's an inconvenience to
Right.
have to maybe
No, that's
pull a
fine.
car around. But
Yeah,
that's
right.
that's just my only issue with,
Yeah, I mean,
this application.
yeah, because technically I'm just asking, like I said, I was kind of rounding up, but technically I'm asking for 0.38 because I'm at 33.71 with the additional driveway versus the 33.33. So I'm just asking for technically 0.38, so not even 0.5%. So that's all. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if I can't have the driveway and I can have everything else, I'd be happy with that. Yeah, I mean, obviously I'd like to get this done and like you said, we still have three parking spots there,
Yeah,
so.
I understand you're asking for something small, but
Right.
we approved the other ones, but it's because they made it a
Wait a minute.
carport or something. They-
Right.
We
so you're
can't
just
talk
Oh, that's
talking
fine.
about Parking spot.
Yeah, well, it saves me money, I guess. I don't have to
Okay.
pour
So
that cement.
I'll make an amendment to amend the motion, to amend the application,
Amend the motion.
amend the motion,
Motion to approve.
approve,
May I word it for you?
yes.
Justin is making a motion to amend the approval in its entirety, except the driveway expansion. Is there a second to Justin's motion? Cassidy has seconded it. In this now, anybody have anything they want to talk about on this particular amendment? We're going to vote on the amendment first. So in other words, what we're looking at is approving everything except that driveway expansion. And that way, I agree with you very much. And even from all standpoints, I'm impervious. There's going to be other things that we've seen before us that are going to affect impervious that we're going to have to address again. And I think this is a waste of the impervious cover personally. So I would support this amendment. Anybody have any questions on the amendment? In voting, Tom, did you have any? Okay, all in favor of granting the amendment to the motion, say aye. That's the amendment is unanimous. Now we go back to the main motion, which is approving the applicant as described in the application, except the exclusion of the driveway. And Madam Secretary, if you'll clean that up for me later, I appreciate it. But does everybody on the board know what we're doing? Okay. The motion has been made and called. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? It is unanimous.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you.
Will we see you again next month, or are you going to give us a couple of months break?
I'll give you a couple of months break.
Okay, thank you very much. Sure. Are we on 5? We're on Mr. Mary. Public hearing on application from Vincent Mary for a variance of a fence in the front yard higher than 3 feet. The property located at 6905 West Avenue. In the agenda as written. Mr. Mary, would you let us know what you're doing?
You want to speak for Chris?
Yes, so my name is Chris. I'm working with Vincent. Can I present?
Of course.
question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so you guys should all have the package that we turned in. There is an existing chain link fence that's there right now, which is 44 inches off the finished ground. And
Now, that fence is how much of that fence is left?
well, so half of that
6
fence,
feet, maybe?
half of that fence got taken out recently by a car that crashed into the property. So part of the request from Mr. Murray is to put back a new fence at the exact same location, the existing fence, but it'd be a different material, it'd be wrought iron, and it would be at 48 inches versus the existing 44. And the variance is to basically request a variance for the 36 maximum.
Right.
And part of that request has to do with that his front yard is essentially his backyard. And so we're trying to capture that space to make it a safe area for his kids to use that
Okay,
space.
is there anyone in the audience that wants to come up and speak to anybody? Okay, thank you. Based on that, it is now 5:54 and we're closing the public hearing. May I have a motion, please, from the board so we can discuss this? Motion's been made by Mr. Lopez. Justin has seconded it. I'll go first on this one if it's all right. Question, you're going to take down the rest of that chain link fence when you put this one up, is that correct?
We would like to, yes, I'd like to.
Yeah, I'd like you to too. I was the only person when the car wreck was cheering when it went through the chain link fence. No, you've done a beautiful job on that
Well,
home.
thank you very
Yeah, I mean,
much. We
it's
love it.
it's lovely. And I truly understand on West Avenue having the height. Is that enough height?
Well, yes, I believe so. You know, there's also a lot of deer and stuff and they're chewing everything up and we're just trying to make it high enough.
Well,
But I
that-
didn't want to make it seem like, I said prison, I don't mean a prison, but a 6-foot wrought iron fence would kind of make it seem like it was a little insecure and a little, where it wasn't as secure. And I thought maybe 44 would just be a good height for us.
Right, and my only question is, and forgive me for this, if I live on Foxhall Lane, right around the
Yes, right
corner
around
from
the
you.
corner, yes.
And a deer can clear 48 inches.
I know.
So I'm
Yeah.
just saying to keep you from coming back to us,
And trying to grease it, I
Um,
see.
is
So
that enough height?
It's a good point because down the street, all of them are 6 feet tall. There's rock, there's stone, there's wood, there's everything. and there's
absolutely.
Yeah, so it's a good question. I guess I was happy with 44, but I do understand. I guess if 6 foot didn't look so tacky, and I don't mean to say that to be negative, I was
No,
just
no,
worried about it being just looking over security, or I didn't want it to seem like it was a dangerous place. I know we won't stop there. I don't even think you can stop them at 6 feet. But I just wanted to have some privacy, so when we take our dogs and things like that, they can run around and no kids.
Fine. I
you
just
know,
wanted
we have a
to,
few
just wanted
strangers
to throw
walking
it out
through.
there.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Lopez, do you have any comments? Questions? Cassie, questions? Justin, questions? You sure? Last chance or
This is your
higher?
last chance on the height. You good with 48?
I'm good with 48, sir. Thank you. so
Okay,
much.
that.
Yeah.
If you come back to us next month, we're
You're
going to
gonna
say,
tell
we
me
told
no.
you so. Okay,
Go 248.
Tom,
Yeah, I've got a 5.5 front fence. You're trying to definitely don't make it.
It's 5.5 feet.
But 48 don't probably make it.
Yeah.
When they don't make it, they get it built.
So they've eaten the rose bushes. I was surprised to see me eating cactus, things like that. So I
oh
stopped
yeah,
landscaping.
they'll eat everything.
They'll eat everything. So yeah, I just was trying to, just for the dogs and us to run around. I understand 6 feet would be better, but I was just
No,
didn't want it
that,
to look
that,
like a prison.
it's your yard, your thing. Okay, anybody have
with
any
the gate.
questions?
But did you want to talk about the gate we have?
Yeah, so the height we're talking about would also apply to the gate as well, that we're
Yes.
proposing as well.
Yes, the height has to do with anything. Now, you're going to run this where the existing, are you going to run it all the way back behind the garage on the side? Is that
Not
correct?
behind the garage.
Or, I
in
mean,
front of the garage.
in front of the garage.
Driveway, yes. So there doesn't have to be anybody using.
Are
the
you
gate.
running solid in the front? Or are you going to leave the gate where it is in the front as well? Is that gone? Is that going to be gone, that front gate?
Yes, there's a gate there. It's gone already.
Oh,
With
okay.
that car that hit it, but we're in the driveway. We were gonna have a little recess so at least the car can pull in before they open the gate because it's dangerous.
Sure.
On that
Now we're
curve.
talking West Avenue
We're talking
side?
West Avenue side.
Okay.
There was no gate. There is gonna be a little gate by the garage just so we can walk into the. yard.
Sure.
But there's also an existing gate. I understand there was a previous existing gate in the street
Right.
because the curb has a driveway entrance. It's all gone and we don't.
But you're going to have a pull-in area there so a car can get off
on
the street
far left
before the,
side, yes,
okay,
pull in so the car can get off the road and get out and open the gate.
where the curb cut is. All right.
Yes. Yes, yes, sir.
Anybody have any more questions? It's been made, motion seconded. All in favor, say aye. It's
Aye.
approved. Thank you
Aye.
very much.
All right, thank you, guys.
Get me started.
Sir, did you have,
Oh, no,
you're just an esteemed guest tonight?
Mike being senator, Christian Castle Hills, and he suggested I come sit in to see how this process works.
Fantastic. Well, we're glad you're here. Thank you very much.
Not to exceed 6 feet.
Since there's no other business before the board is now adjourned.